Hello students, welcome back to the biology class. So in the last class we continued the chapter number 8, that is the human health and diseases, and we covered the topic of alcohol abuse or alcohol addiction. We learned in the last class that alcohol is basically the ethyl alcohol or ethanol, which is manufactured by alcoholic fermentation of carbohydrates, and the main organism involved in this is the brewer's yeast, which is also called as the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. We learned that alcohol is absorbed to different degrees in different parts of the alimentary canal, and its maximum absorption takes place in the upper portion of small intestine as well as stomach. We learned that once the alcohol enters into the alimentary canal and absorbed from there, it reaches the blood, and from the blood it goes to the liver, and liver now gets an extra work to do, and that is the conversion of the alcohol into the fat. Now there is a limit for this work also, because there are many other activities liver has to perform. So side by side, from liver the alcohol starts moving to the heart. From heart it goes to the lungs, come back to the heart, and then throughout the body it is circulated, which is called as the systemic circulation of alcohol, and because of which the whole body cells start receiving alcohol to be metabolized, and that's why the body starts feeling heated up, and then we start precipitating or sweating as a side effect of few pegs of alcohol. Now alcohol, we need to remember, is never a stimulant. We understood in the last class that it is a sedative, analgesic as well as an anesthetic drug. Then problem with the alcohol is that it causes physical problems with the person who is an alcoholic. It causes problem of the social background also, as well as the psychological problems develop in the family also. And then the effect of the alcohol, we learned in the last class that it causes deficiency of minerals and vitamins which are essential for various metabolic activities. It even cut short the rapid eye movement, so there is a restless sleep. Sleep is never complete. And then it even affects the brain, and it causes the loss of control over the activities of cerebrum as well as cerebellum. It also causes problem with the cardiovascular system. We learned that alcohol reduces the sugar level of blood, and excessive consumption of alcohol may cause the inflammation of esophagus, stomach glands as well as the pancreas. We learned in the last class that it can even start cancer in some of the portions of the human body. We learned that the effect of alcohol is to the largest extent is on the liver, because it may start the fatty liver syndrome, or it may even lead to the hepatitis, otherwise cirrhosis, and even possible that there could be a complete blockage of the bile juice secretion, and that can cause jaundice. And along with the liver, it also affects the kidneys function because of the deficiency of ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. There is diuresis or increased output of urine. That means dehydration quickly takes place in the body. We also learned that liver also affects the muscles and cause pain and swelling in the muscles. It also decreases the number of, it also enlarges the RBCs and decreases the number of WBC. And if too much of alcoholism is done, then it even affects the sexual parts, that mean testes as well as ovaries. They start shrinking in their size, and they start becoming abnormal in their functions also. And even abortion is possible in a lady who is a regular intaker of alcohol. And along with this, we also understood that even the development of fetus is affected because of the alcohol, which is called as the fetal alcoholic syndrome, in which the facial features of the developing fetus changes. It even it brings defects in the heart's chambers, auricles as well as ventricles, and even the joint problems start developing in the developing baby inside, along with the mental retardation. So now in today's class we are going to start with the drug addiction. It's slightly a long concept, because then we have to cover the NCERT's content, then finishing this chapter today. So drug addiction, how do you define basically a drug is? A drug is a chemical entity which is present in a medicine, and it is used for diagnosis, it is used for treatment, and it is used for prevention of a disease. So whenever it is used in the medical field, it is called as the drug use. But once it becomes a non-medical use of drug, non-prescribed use of drug, or the use is made for the pleasure, then it is not called as drug use, but it is called as the drug abuse. So there are many drugs which are addictive in nature. I told you even in the previous classes that WHO has modified the word from addiction to dependence. So there are drugs which start developing the dependence in the person, or you can say it develops the habit in the person. So these drugs are even called as the habituating drugs. Now there are two types of habituating drugs. Some are mood altering type of drugs. So they affect the behavior and they affect the mental activity of a person, and you call them as psychotropic drugs. And then the other type of habituating drugs are those drugs which start producing vision in a person. If you remember in the last class I talked about hallucinogenic drugs. So those drugs which brings visions in a person, the person starts feeling euphoria, and then the main thing euphoria, and then you need to remember such drugs are called as psychedelic drugs. So two type of drugs are there, psychotropic and psychedelic drugs. Psychotropic drugs only change the mood, but the visions are produced because of the psychedelic drugs. And remember, these drugs can be natural or these drugs can be synthetic also. So we'll be talking about all this in today's class.